Hi, welcome to the second part of tonight's episode of Blue Sock. Again, John, Dave and myself are going to look forward to our game at the weekend against Ospreys and of course all the other Pro 12 matches. So lads, Johnny Sexton likely to make a return.
So they say, yeah. I kind of had my little spreadsheet was telling me that him and Ruddock were going to come back for this one. So I'm very glad to see him back. Bigger, I think, came off the bench last week for the Ospreys, so they're that little bit ahead of us. I have to say, it's a mouth-watering clash. The Ospreys are in such good form. We're kind of building. We're at home, so we have a home advantage, but it's a bit of a juggernaut coming at us, the Ospreys, and they're going to be fired up, lots of confidence. What's his name, Alan Wynne-Jones made a return from the bench as well. I mean, there's a guy nobody wants to see coming out against him. He's a bit of a force, a bit of a Paul O'Connell type talismanic figure.
He is to them. That's what he is to them. He is their Paul O'Connell. I mean, we would perceive our biggest rivals in the league to be Munster, and our toughest rivals to be Munster. And our win percentage against Munster is 59% in the Celtic League, which is, not bad. But you pretty much, it goes one way or the other way, right? Our win percentage against Ospreys is only 50%. It is our worst record in the league.
Really?
Yeah. So that just shows kind of where they're at. They're a team that knows how to beat Leinster, a team that has beaten Leinster at home and away. And unless we're really, really good, they will beat Leinster.
Oh yeah.
If we play like we played against Edinburgh, for example, where we lost 20 minutes, we lose the game. I mean, there's no question. If we play like we played against Leinster, or against Ospreys, if we play like we played against Edinburgh for 80 minutes, we could win.
Trounced.
We could win. But if we play like we played against Edinburgh,
in the second half.
Yeah, in the second half.
Sorry,
then,
I see what you mean.
Yeah. I mean, you have to. When you're playing there are a couple of teams where you can't take a break. Glasgow, Ospreys, Munster.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much, and maybe Cardiff now, if John is to be believed.
But there's some games where you just, if you take your foot off the gas, you are boned. You will stall.
The Ospreys are also not afraid of the RDS.
No, they're not.
Having won.
They'd
Pro
regard
12's there.
They'd regard it
Finals
as a happy hunting ground. So they
exactly. And
they always seem to have the Indian number on us.
The one thing they have, the one thing they have on us seems to be on the deck. They seem to make a mess of the breakdown every time they come near us. So when we've Nigel Owens reffing, for example, it's never a good.
Do we know the ref?
I don't know who the ref is.
no idea.
What we do have though this time is we've got a really well firing back row.
Mm-hmm.
We've got four fit guys who were there last week. Heaslip obviously at the centre of things. Probably Levy and Van der Fleer, or Levy and Murphy, or Van der Fleer and Murphy, or hey, I'll take them any way we get them, and the other one will be on the bench. So at least we have some. If we're playing Van der Fleer and Levy, we're going to have some power on the deck. Your man, Two Pricks, as he's called, is
by
me. Tuperich, sorry. Has he's what's the phrase? He's as happy as a dog with two Mickeys. he is when he gets the ball. Like he's another great link man.
Black Beauty was written in reaction to horses been flogged less than this.
Anyway, he's very happy with getting the ball on the deck. He's also very happy to run with the backs. He's seen as, perhaps by Welsh fans, he's seen as a bit of a liability in the beef stakes, where he can get buried by a big blindside or whatever. But he's got everything else, and he's supreme on the deck. So I'm kind of worried about him. I'm worried about pretty much all of their team.
Well, I mean, they have a very good team, but I mean, the one thing is, I mean, this will tell us where the likes of Van der Fleer and Levy are and things, because okay, like you say, he mightn't have the beef and he might not, but one thing he has is he is a pilferer supreme.
Absolutely,
and a spoiler supreme. Mm-hmm. So if they can deal with him, and then they add on all the other physical gifts that they have, then they're going to be okay.
Yeah.
But they have to deal with him, because otherwise we get murdered.
Yeah.
Because he has broken Leinster, like that team, that Ospreys team has broken Leinster hearts before. I mean, no, I'm not talking metaphorically. I mean literally. There are guys who finished careers losing games to the Ospreys with Leinster careers, and it's. I mean, Michael Cheika, his last game ever with Leinster was a loss to the Ospreys in the grand final, and it broke his heart. Like, and the same has happened with other guys.
It's the only time
John-
we
when
lost
John-
at home under him
Yeah.
to the Ospreys.
We did do the double on them last season.
Yeah.
We beat them in March in the RDS, and I think
But they
it
had
was
a shite
genuine.
season.
They
in
did. They
fairness.
had
They
a
had a
rubbish
dreadful
season.
season
Like
last year.
they finished 8th in the league.
They still
Didn't-
managed to put 1,000,000 tries on the Italians,
Probably.
even in their shit season. So.
But like they were miles off the pace. They finished 8th, didn't qualify for Europe. But this version of their team seems to be an entirely different beast altogether.
Well, it's like we were saying before. I mean, teams peak and trough, and Ospreys had a very good team, but between the lure of England and or and
They were
other parts
unlucky with injury last year as well.
and injury and stuff like that, and indeed age, they had to rebuild, and like last year was a rebuilding year for them. But they're so far this season they've been reaping the benefits. Now, whether what has happened so far stands up to, if you like, repeated listening, as they say in the album stakes, is another thing, because this is their most serious test
Well, so far anyway.
so far. So we'll not. I mean, we can say Ospreys have 15 points. They've scored 65 million tries so far, but they scored 64 million of those tries against Italian teams.
Yeah.
And 10 of those
So it
points.
does kind of skew the table.
It does
initially,
skew things. So I would traditionally always be extraordinarily wary of Ospreys, more than any other team in the league, more than Ulster, more than Munster, because Ospreys are in league rugby. Ospreys are the team that have done us the most damage.
If only we had a bit of power and pace in the back three to launch down Eli Walker's wing, because he's not renowned for his defence. A little flying machine when he gets going, though. So
I think
pace in the opposite direction is not going to be a problem.
I think we'll have plenty of power.
And well, they've got Power and Jeff Hassler on the other wing. He's a fabulous player. He's Canadian international, but
I think we'll be able to match them in power stakes. I mean, we'll have. I would suggest no guarantees, but I'd suggest we'll have Issa and Dave Carney on the wings.
yeah, or
Zane maybe.
Zane fullback.
Zane a fullback.
Like we know that Rob Kearney's knee injury that he picked up against Glasgow seems to be more serious than initially suggested, and Gervin hinted that he
Swung
be
back the other way now for
making it-
2-3 weeks. You reckon?
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
both more
but
and less
ma-
serious. He's going to be out. He's going to be out for a long time, but he's not going to need a surgical intervention. If it's from what I.
Yeah, but he's going to be out for until the European
Yeah,
rounds.
yeah.
And Leinster, like they'll say one thing and they'll mean an
Oh yeah,
entirely
week too
different.
soon.
Well, he did come out of his own mouth today. He was on the radio today, and he said that among other things, he said that Joe Schmidt was definitely re-signing for Leinster or for Ireland. Even.
scoop
that'd be
there,
good,
John.
wouldn't it?
That'd be quite cute. Is he going to work as a senior coach? How will he work with Lancaster?
That'd be interesting, wouldn't it?
But well, there are
he-
certain
he
guys.
also
There are certain
said-
guys within the Leinster camp who are very, very exceptionally professional in terms of how they approach the media, and they don't say stuff by accident.
He was told to say that, I presume.
Oh, he knew what he was saying. Yeah, I mean, no, I don't mean that in a cynical way. I just mean he's so professional. He doesn't let things slip by mistake. That's all.
Yeah, but what's the big downside in other teams knowing that Rob Kearney might be back in 2 or 3 weeks? It's not
Well, I
exactly
presume the thing is,
earth-shattering.
I think. Well, I know that Joe Schmidt hates, or when he was at Leinster, he used to hate teams having an opportunity to prepare. Because if you say you spend your day, we say usually Thursday's the day when they
Rep the
when they
team.
rep the opposition. So if you spend all your day repping, you're doing kicking and you're trying to move, say, Rob Kearney around, and all of a sudden Rob Kearney's not there. It means
Yeah.
you've wasted your Thursday.
But you go back many,
true.
11 seasons ago, Darcy and O'Driscoll were, everything was fine. They were supposed to be fit and ready to play for Ireland. They were sent off down to Poland to do the ice chambers. O'Driscoll said in his first book, there was no chance I was going to play, but why tell them that? Why, I think it was Wales they were playing. Why tell them
Let
that?
them waste their time preparing for Brian O'Driscoll. That's the attitude. I mean, Joe Schmidt is exceptionally careful about stuff like that. So that would sink down because as goes the Irish coach, so goeth the nation.
So we've almost all of our returnees that were injured before the season started. We've just got Henshaw and O'Brien to be the two big ones.
Ruddock?
Well, Ruddock is due for a run this week,
Yeah.
I think.
He was coming back from injury, isn't he?
Yeah. This is allegedly
He should be okay.
should be okay for it. So you might see him on the bench, and then you've the question of the four that we had last week that I was lauding. Which of them is not going to make it? Is it going to be Murphy? Is it going to be Fan
Maybe
Flair?
maybe
Is it
maybe
going to
they
be
all make
Eastlick?
it.
Or is he going to put...
It's headaches like that I think the coaches love when there's four guys in form.
Yeah.
You've an international who's hopefully back before the European match, O'Brien,
Yeah.
and you have another international, Ruddock,
Yeah.
you know, chomping at the bit to come back.
I mean, it's when you're
Scary.
it's when you're looking at your academy and trying to see if a guy might be physically able to
Exactly,
step up.
yeah.
That's when you have a problem. It's not a problem when you've got these beasts just dying to get at it. You know.
Yeah, and you've also got guys like Max Deegan in the academy, who's only first year in the academy and was tearing things up in the under-20s World Cup.
Yeah.
We just seem to be able to produce
Back rowers.
back rowers. I mean, look at Levy coming through now. I mean, for once he's now got a body,
Run of injuries.
and he's
Injury-free.
injury-free, touch
Yes.
wood, but he's trying, or he's going to fulfil his potential that people would have seen when he was a schoolboy.
Yeah,
And he's got the body now to handle himself in the pro game.
sure has. Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's an area of strength, maybe even an area of too much strength, as it's been noted that maybe we have too many back rows and maybe we should be getting rid of
Swapping
them.
one
but
for a winger
I
with
absolutely-
Ulster or somebody.
But, I mean, they don't have anyone. They don't have a. Do Ulster? I mean, it's been talked about. Do Ulster have anyone on the wings that's on a par with any of our back row prospects?
Pieta.
Seriously. Really?
Pieta.
No, but seriously, do they?
We're not getting Pieta and
I mean, Ulster's wingers are Trimble, Bow,
Trimble and Bauer
Stockdale.
are a bit old.
Are any of those on a par with, say, Dan Levy?
No.
No.
Well, not for me, and I may be biased.
But I mean, the only one that Leinster would really let go is Dominic Ryan. Do Ulster want Dominic Ryan? They already have Robbie Dyack, who fulfills that kind of senior, can play a bit of everywhere, but not really anywhere kind of role.
Yeah.
Would Ulster want Dominic Ryan? Like,
I don't know.
Would-
I'd say they would.
if you would you want Dominic Ryan if you were Ulster coach?
I'd say it would, yeah.
And who would you
When
trade
see
for him?
some of the options
Who would you
that
trade
they
for him?
have in the back row. Who would I trade from? Don't know.
Ludic?
Would we want Luke?
No.
He doesn't have pace.
Oh yeah.
particularly.
See, that's
He
it.
doesn't
Anyone that they want, we're not going to give, and anyone that we want, they're not going to give. I mean, it's. I mean,
Stalemate.
unless they give, unless
But maybe Dominic Ryan is sitting
Stuart
there.
Olding for Dan
but
Levy,
maybe-
but that would be it. Like.
But maybe Dominic Ryan, when his contract comes up for renewal, he's sitting there and he's going, "My God, now there's more fellas after coming through," and I'm looking behind me at the lad that you said, Deegan, and
There's other lads there as well.
Ryan. You know, they might move him into the back row. I don't know.
Bit tall.
Maybe so.
No, there's a
But
couple of other lads knocking on. Josh
but,
Murphy's there.
you know, there's quite a few, and he's looking at Levy coming
Will
through.
Connors.
He's looking at Murphy now. You know, getting a regular start for Ireland. You know, going on tour. And he's thinking. I'm sure he's thinking, like, there's going to be
Dion.
a string of injuries for me to get into the match day 23. So my role with Leinster is going to be, when all the internationals are away, I might just scrape into the starting 15, or I'm going to be playing B&I Cup. So maybe he's going to sit there and go, do you know what? There's a deal on the table from Ulster. There's a deal on the table from...
Whoever.
I would have
whoever.
no problem with him if he was out of contract and he wanted to move.
I think he's out this year.
Then I would suggest that would be a very good move for him and a good professional move for him. But that's a different thing than we're talking about. I don't think he. I mean, I don't think he has much of a. Just because the personnel around him is so exceptional. I've often compared him to David Corkery. But I mean that in a good and a bad way. David Corkery actually was a very, very good player. He was a hard nut. I mean, he could take on. He could go toe to toe with the likes of Peter Winterbottom. But Peter Winterbottom didn't have brain farts. David Corkery did, and to a certain extent, sometimes Dominic Ryan has brain farts, and that's where I see the similarity. But that doesn't mean he's not a very good player. But he's just not a. Compare him to the rest of the guys in the Leinster. If you like the cadre of back rows we have, does he make matchday squads? No.
You'd have to question whether or not.
No.
Anyway.
So for him as a professional, I think the best thing for him to do is when his contract runs down is to
Seek
seek.
outside help.
Yeah, but that'd be good for him. I fully support that. You know, for his own good, like.
Yeah, if he's into it.
Yeah.
He
I mean-
just love playing for us.
Yeah, and I don't like to see any player because Dominic Ryan's been around a long time. You know,
And he
for,
broke through.
He was-
Exceptional in his
he was
year
very young.
before injury.
Yeah, he was young when he broke through, and he was hard. He was hard, proper hard.
He knocked himself out in his first game.
Yeah.
Tackling Chris Cussiter.
Yeah, and he got yellow
Last
carded for it.
game,
It was
yeah.
never a yellow card either.
That's right.
But between injuries and stuff like that. I mean, he used to have a good bit of pace as well, but he lost that pace. I think
I
he lost
think
the edge
injury
off
didn't
it.
do him any favours
No,
on,
no.
on the pace stakes. You know. But anyway,
Anyway, this has got very little to do with Ospreys.
yeah.
Well, one other Leinster fella who unfortunately had to hang up his boots this week was Niall Morris.
Niall Morris.
And it came as a bit of a shock actually when I saw the text
Yeah, I was
coming
very
through.
surprised that he had, because I was at that game against Gloucester. We were all at the game. Well, we were at the game against Gloucester. It didn't seem that serious.
Well,
But it was-
he fought his way back from injury at Leicester over a year, and finally got back, and injured in a pre-season game. As somebody said on board, at least he got to retire a Leinster player. But whether that softens the blow in any way at all, it's not great. Right? The guy's 28. It seems like yesterday he was in the academy. It's not that long ago. 5 years ago, maybe he left Leinster. Is it?
Yeah.
And he was only in his first year at the academy, I think. But he was just really turned into a promising player. And I think he had a decent career at Leicester as well. He had a good few years
Yeah,
there.
they liked him. But they just signed with all their BT money. They were able to.
Yeah.
They were able to go bigger than local talent, as it were.
Yeah,
So.
and obviously they probably saw that he was fighting his way back from injury that might not get back permanently. So it wasn't to be, and it's sad to see because guys in that position. Look, Drico played till he was, and he had huge mileage on the clock, and he played till he was 35, nearly 34.
There seems to be an awful lot of fellas, like Driscoll and O'Connell made it into their mid-30s. An awful lot of fellas now are having to call it quits before they hit 30.
Well, that's true,
Yeah.
and things have ramped up over the years that O'Driscoll was playing. Like when he started playing, the people weren't
Yeah.
as big, the hits weren't
Yeah,
as
yeah.
big.
But you think even from Leinster's squad, there's Luke, Morris, then say last season McLaughlin. There's fellas now
No.
they're getting 6-7 seasons out of their careers instead of 16 as O'Driscoll and O'Connell
Well,
had.
I mean, it's
And Darcy.
It's the evolution of the game, and the players will evolve eventually, and they'll catch up. But that's just
That coincides, though, if you look at the careers of somebody like Luke Fitzgerald, his debut season coincides with when, not long after the league went up to the full amount of matches. It was maybe 2 years after it went after regionalisation in Wales, and the league went to a full 22 game or 20 game or whatever it was. Whereas before, say 2001, especially, there was like few Interpros and Heineken Cup.
Yeah.
So there was good 5 years there of very little going on, and then the amount of games and the intensity of those games and international games on top of them, everybody getting fitter. I mean, it's really Lions Tour 2001, England winning the World Cup. Like England were streets ahead of everybody for fitness winning the World Cup, and now, within a very few years after that, everybody was up onto the same level fitness wise. Ireland were under Eddie O'Sullivan, and all teams, whereas previously it had only been the All Blacks, Australians, and maybe England when they won the World Cup. So that level of fitness and that level of the game has come up coincides with when a lot of these guys are getting shorter careers.
but I think it has coincided because they've always played a lot of games in France.
Well, that's true. Yeah.
There's two schools of thought. One is that if you don't play a lot of games, you don't get hurt.
Yeah.
And the other school of thought is if you play too many games, you get injured.
Yeah.
Somewhere there's a happy medium.
There is definitely. I'm trying to find it at the moment in the international World Rugby inner circles. Are trying to find a happy medium between club and international.
I don't think they're anywhere close to it yet, though.
I don't think so either. But we shall see.
Wasn't there was something I heard about the Six Nations wasn't going to move?
There was one of the BBC broke a story that about basically the new global calendar, but the World Rugby kind of not rubbished it, but dismissed the entire story because there's been no agreement whatsoever on it yet.
One of the Kiwis came out and said,
Steve Chew
came out and said, well, nothing is agreed until everything is agreed. So we're discussing this, that, the other, and you can't really say any of them are.
Would you think it might be an opportunity for the unions to wrest a little bit of power back from the French and the English clubs?
No,
not at all.
No.
not at all.
Don't see it going that way.
Because all they'll do is alienate the clubs, and cause a fissure in the game.
It was inevitable once the game went professional that this kind of thing was going to happen. It's just the fact that France and England have the big populations and can generate the big cash for the big TV deals and yada yada yada. But this is an inevitable consequence, and the Scottish and Irish unions in particular were very against professionalism from day one.
For this reason.
And the
Well,
further
well,
on
I mean,
it goes,
like,
the more
don't-
unions are going to have
don't
to step
forget-
back from it.
10 years before rugby went professional, when the IRFU were discussing an AIL league, there was clubs, particularly in Ulster, they didn't even want to have an AIL league because they couldn't compete. They knew they couldn't compete. And the Ulster interprovincial team was by far the dominant,
strongest in
the
the
strongest
era,
in that era. And they knew that their clubs couldn't sustain what the Munster clubs could have. What I mean is getting 10,000 through the turnstile, and then 10 or 20,000 pints being pulled at the ground, and all the revenue that would generate, and playing
Devil's buttermilk.
but as well paying
Easy.
with the potential of paying coaches and paying professionals. So it's always kind of this flux between one side and the other side who
Exactly.
and I see no different as what we have now.
Well, the genie is out of the bottle now, and you can't put it back in. So it's only ever going to get more and more and more, and eventually unions are going to have to, including our own, we're going to have to step back.
But
The unions have lost. They've lost.
but-
They're dead. But what
not dead yet, but-
all they can do is control the smell.
But
I mean, that's it.
I think that's a bit overstating. Like, I think, say the rugby championship, right? There seems to be so many matches now that they all just blur into one, and they're not special. So many times, New Zealand play Australia this year, particularly with New Zealand just romping away with it, with another round of matches still to come, and they've already won it.
Yeah.
You think back to the Six Nations, the quality mightn't be as good, but the excitement level is far higher.
There are 3 rounds, Jason.
No, 3 rounds, sorry. And whereas you think back to, say, when Ireland won it, and that fantastic last day a couple of seasons ago, where it went right down to each
The
game was...
They need to justify. They need to play games in the Southern Hemisphere. They need to play games to get bums on seats, to get revenue in, to pay salaries, to keep players in the South, because otherwise they just go to the club game in the Northern Hemisphere. It's the battle against the club game. They're killing themselves to try and survive, if you know what I mean.
No, I agree,
Yeah.
And they are killing themselves. That's the thing. I mean, they have to cut back on the number of rounds in the rugby championship. They simply have to, because otherwise it's a meaningless championship, and players won't want to play in it. Players are staying because they get to play for New Zealand in the rugby championship. But if the rugby championship becomes a crap competition or a crapper competition, they'll just leave anyway.
Well, I think as well, you get someone will have 3 New Zealand caps, and all of a sudden you go, well, I'm an All Black now. So I can,
Bankable.
like even Pieta, you know what I mean? An All Black, or there's the guy down in Munster as well.
There's lots of guys who've... Look at Regan King, 1 cap. There's loads of guys
You
with
should
1.
have no more caps though.
Absolutely, but there's lots of guys. What's his name? Nick Evans.
Oh yeah.
Harlequins doesn't have that many caps, but what a player, fabulous.
I remember
fabulous
seeing
player.
him playing in a final trial, New Zealand final trial. It was live on telly, and he was playing fullback, and he was playing for the Possibles against an Andrew Mertens led Probables, and the guy, I think it wasn't Carlos Spencer, it was somebody else.
Mertens was knocking on at that stage.
Got injured playing for the Possibles, and Evans stepped in to play out half, and he was brilliant. And got his New Zealand cap off the back of that game. He was picked for the rugby champ or the Tri-Nation squad based on that match.
He was just unfortunate then. Dan Carter was
that was
born a couple of years
yeah.
after him.
Yeah.
But anyway, turning our attention back to the Pro 12, there's a few interesting and tasty other matches in next weekend's fixtures. One that stands
Tell
out.
us, Jake, which ones are they?
Oh well, I would say Glasgow against Ulster, David.
Oh, that's a tasty morsel indeed. It is. That's a bit of a cross between Ulster fry and neeps and tatties. Very very tasty morsel. That'll be a good
And
game.
it's in Glasgow.
Yeah,
It's in
And
Glasgow.
it's sold out.
yeah. Well, of course it is. Half of Ulster lives in Glasgow.
Yeah. Or Edinburgh.
Yeah. No, that'll be a cracking game.
Yeah, when I was over there a couple of weeks ago, they were saying at the time there was 300 tickets left for it. And
That's always a big fixture for Glasgow. Actually,
Yeah.
they make a big deal of it. It's one of their
Yeah.
One of their, if you like,
But I think their ambition is to have every
special-
game sold out.
Yeah.
Like that's
Well,
but it's
they're
one of their
all-
special edition games, if you know what I mean.
You know, Ulster people invaded Scotland in 600 AD, and
Then
Scottish
got revenge.
people invaded Ulster in
1601.
1600 AD. So you know, every 1,000 years or so, there's usually a big influx of mixing of the blood. So
I'm looking forward to
They-
2600 AD.
yeah, 2600 AD should be a bit of a blast, all right.
But it's going to be a stiff test for
You
Ulster.
young lads will be still alive by then.
But I think this is be a very stiff test for
Oh, well,
Ulster.
I mean-
And we'll actually see, you know, if they do have title hopes and if they are contenders.
We'll also see how Glasgow react
To
to
losing
losing
to Cardiff.
to Cardiff.
Yeah.
So they'll be all fired up. And as you say, Ulster's first real,
Mm-hmm.
away match. 'Cause you don't win the league. You don't win the league at home.
So that's a lot of the good teams in the league crystallised down into 2 fixtures. So
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. You don't win the league at home. You win it on your away results because everybody's going to win at home. That's what you have to assume. You have to assume everybody's going to win pretty much all their home games. So then what you have to do is you have to try and eke out either losing bonus points or try bonus points or
Yeah.
actually away wins. Away wins are the gold standard in this competition. So for Ulster, this is how you judge a team like Ulster or a team like Leinster or a team like whoever. It's how they perform against another contender away from home.
for 10 brownie points, what was the last game in the league Leinster lost at home? Because we didn't lose one last season.
Ulster.
Newport went Dragons.
I think it might have been the Dragons. I'm not sure.
Mm.
It was one or other of them.
We had a bad loss to Ulster, but that was away from home. Ulster have a dread. Our record against, this is why I know all these percentages, I was looking them up for the Ospreys thing. Our record against Ulster is really, really good. It's one of the best.
Yeah.
I think only the Italian teams have we got a better record against than Ulster.
Well, like they are, they've beaten us once
I
in
think,
the
I'm not
RDS
sure about
this
that.
millennium.
Yeah.
You know, that's fairly shocking.
But we've an exceptional record in the RDS. I mean, every time you walk out of it, you kind of think, "Geez, there's another win."
Mm.
Like, I mean, we've probably played there now for 8-9 seasons. I can honestly say I count 10 losses there in those 10
Mhm.
seasons.
Mhm.
You know,
This
this
is
is a
our
phenomenal record.
10th season
Yeah.
in a row there, I think.
Connacht take on Scarlets over in Clonetly.
Another good game.
It's going to be a good game, but the hits keep on coming for Connacht. You know,
Yeah.
it's like that's not by no means an easy fixture.
Oh, it's not. It's a hard fixture, and it's a hard fixture for a team that isn't going well. It might be.
Yeah, but neither of them are going well. They're
Yeah.
both vying for bottom of the table, you know.
That's what I was going to say.
Oh, sorry, Dave.
No, I was going to say it's a hard fixture for a team that's not going well, and in this case we have two teams who aren't going well.
Absolutely, yeah. They're
But like it is kind of, I'm not saying it's make or break for their season, but all of us, like, we're already 6 points behind Ospreys.
It's not make or break, but it makes
But,
things very bendy.
but when Connacht are down at sort of 1 or 2 points or whatever they have, they lose this one.
Connacht-
There's going to be a big gap opening up between.
Connacht will come back because I mean the only thing is that somebody pointed out today that the disadvantage that Connacht have is people have seen Connacht. You know,
Yeah.
and people now take Connacht seriously. So they work their asses off on all the research and all that kind of stuff. Whereas maybe last year they weren't. I think you made the point last week, didn't you? And the only thing is that the thing is you can research Connacht. They're still a very good team. They're a good team with good players in it, playing well, but they're not playing well at the moment.
Scarlets are a pretty good backline. They're,
Yeah.
You know, they've got our friend Liam Williams.
Yeah.
They've got quite a few decent players out there.
Jonathan Davis.
Yeah, JD2 as he's called. He's pretty decent. I haven't seen that much of him though. He was quiet enough against Ulster.
We've got HRH at out half.
Yeah,
Prince Harry.
he's a bit of a weak link, I think, in the now. I don't
He's
think he's
a-
working out. As
He's
well
a
as
very
they'd hoped.
strange player for
Yeah.
Clonetly to sign. He's not a Clonetly type player.
No, he's a real kicker.
Yeah,
real
yeah.
Control the game,
Yeah.
merchant rather than.
Clonetly have always been a team that played a very expansive game sensibly so, and they always had out halves who could facilitate that. I mean, I know Stephen Jones had a reputation as a kicking out half, but he was a lovely passer of the ball actually.
Was. So yeah, so that's 3 amazing games. So basically, all the shit teams must be playing each other as well. Isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah, who
well,
Munster playing?
Munster play Edinburgh.
There you go.
So that's I think that's the
But fair.
first game of the season in Thomond, I think it is.
All right.
Okay.
Oh,
Well, they win. So
yeah. Yeah, because Edinburgh won't.
No, Edinburgh seem to, well, they put it up against us, but maybe our ineptitude might have made them look a little bit better
but
than
their
they are.
ineptitude in the first half made us look better for
Yeah.
sure. You know, so it was a game of two halves, and
You could see. I felt sorry.
Defence as well
I
as
felt sorry for
attack.
Duncan Weir. He was running around the place. He's trying to put his finger in every kind of dike. You know, he was. I thought he had a very good game for them.
steady.
I say. No, I thought he had a very good game for him. I mean, he's trying out. I mean, he was the guy who chased down Ringrose that time. In the lead up to the Nasiwa tackle, and he was trying everything. But one man was not a backline make.
Mm. And you know, if he was as good at being an out half as he was at growing necks,
He looks like a Santara. That's one for the nerds out there.
okay.
Boys, thanks very much as ever, and thanks very much for watching. Cheers.